Welcome to the show we like to call For the Love of Real Estate, where we dive into what it means to buy or sell a home in today's world. Join host Jill Elliott, Dallas broker associate and former radio personality, as she marries her two loves, radio and real estate. She's going to have you asking yourself, for the love of real estate, should I tackle my fears and buy, rent, sell, or remodel?
Hello and welcome to For the Love of Real Estate. This is a lifestyle real estate podcast that I hope gives you, whether you're buying or selling a home, or maybe you're an agent, it might give you a little bit of insight on what is going on in this crazy real estate world as we try to sort it all out. And if you could please follow or subscribe, that would be an amazing Christmas present. And speaking of Christmas presents, my guest is the most awesome real estate agent in the Kansas City area and beyond. So it's a gift that just keeps going and going. Well, hello, Mike Connors. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas to you as well. I never know what to say after you introduce me. It's like,
I know, because, I always kind of go with it. And then I start really off script, too. I don't know if you've noticed that.
It's over the top. I'm speechless. I have nothing to say, but thank you. And I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, great talking to you again. I'm so glad that you're here. And, oddly enough, and I can't believe this, but we both changed brokerages about the same time, which is sort of odd because you were with yours a little while and I was with mine like 10 years. So
mine was 10
it was
years
sort of,
also, yeah.
Wow. So yeah, I think we've always been on that same real estate wavelength or something. But I say it's kind of like moving to a new house or being a cook in someone else's kitchen. You know how to use that spatula, but you just can't find it. It's sort of like that when you go to a new brokerage. But
it is.
It's fantastic, isn't it? Aren't you happy
tough.
with yours?
It's tough to do. It's exciting. And then all the real work kicks in, and all the way down to rebranding and redoing paperwork and redoing emails and all that stuff. And I
exactly. And then you keep finding little things that you didn't do, right? You keep finding those things and you're like, oh, wait a minute. But the beauty of it is, and I'm with a company called At Properties Dallas, which is a franchise out of Chicago. And they've also just acquired Christie's International Real Estate portfolio. So we're all really excited about that. And tell me about you and who you're with.
Well, it's funny you said little things keep popping up. I think our transition was about 2 months ago, and I think I changed my voicemail 3 days ago because you just forget to do it, And I remembered because I called my assistant and got her voicemail, and I thought, I should probably change my voicemail.
Yeah,
she's
probably.
always on top of stuff. She's like 1,000 times more on top of things than I am. But
that's why you have her.
It's a local company. It's kind of the local brand in Kansas City. They've been around for years and years and years, and it's called Reese Nichols. And my reasons, I don't know if we're supposed to throw our reasons out there, but
sure you can.
I was driving 30 minutes to my office, and in Dallas, you probably laugh at me, I know, and say you can't go anywhere that's under 30 minutes. But
right.
This office is literally 8 minutes from my house, and I want to grow the team bigger. And I think to grow a team, you have to be present in the office, and you have to be present together. And so on top of that, I partnered with somebody that I've known for 10 years as well. So
nice.
Instead of Connor's team now, it's now the Connors Savage Group. We love it. After a lot of chuckles, we realized it would not work the other way, the Savage Connors Group. So
I know, but that is kind of cool though, isn't it?
yeah, it's exciting. Yeah.
Some people might call you Mike Savage.
I know.
Hey, you got to take it where you can get it, right? I mean, come on. That is pretty funny.
If only you knew how funny that actually was. I'm not even going to go there.
Well, actually, and I kind of went where you did. We have one office, but actually the franchise was bought by a very local family, okay? So I feel like this brokerage is extremely local that I'm with because they are so committed to making this the best Dallas brokerage that there is. And we're starting to see it. And I just couldn't be more proud. And we also have just a specific way that we do things now. And I love it. I actually kind of think, I know this is kind of crazy, but we're very uniform. And I sort of like that. It's sort of like Catholic school. You always know what you're going to wear, right? So it's kind of nice. I sort of like that. And I feel like and I love my other brokerage. It's my first love, always will be. But this was just the next step. And finally, my son has joined my team. So it's really just us.
That is exciting.
I know, right? He got his license, and I couldn't be more proud because he works it. In fact, one of my friends came to one of our open houses recently, and I actually mentored her. And she came by to say hi, and she looks at me after walking around and watching him, and she's like, "You're good, but he runs circles around you."
Yeah. Thank you very little, right?
Well, actually, I take it as the biggest compliment ever, right? Because I hope he's running those circles when I, need to sit down for a while. I'm not getting any younger, Yeah,
that's exciting.
This has been such a crazy year, I think, for everybody on a lot of levels. And from the real estate world, I was wondering if maybe you had a takeaway from 2021. I'll let you think about it for a second, but I'll go ahead and tell you mine because I've thought about it.
Hey, Jill, why don't you start and I'll listen to yours first.
Okay, let's do it that way. The bottom line is, and the way I have to see it is, I don't look at the new build process. I don't look at the new build situations like I used to. Because before, if we couldn't find a pre-owned, or maybe somebody was on the fence about, well, should I buy? Should I build? You could always have both of those options. But now, our new build situation is getting almost sort of dire. I mean, it has gotten a little bit better as far as like lumber and materials, but what happened, it's sort of like this. I'll just go ahead and do it in a nutshell. So if there are 30 lots that are going to come up available within the next few months for a builder, they might have 200, 300 people waiting for those lots. Now, they're only going to give them out like 5 at a time per month. So right off the bat, you might be waiting months and months just for a lot. Lots are getting smaller too. Also, building materials, more expensive. A lot of people, like, if there is a builder that the prices for them go up, the prices for you go up too. So if you can't bring that extra 40 or 50,000 to the closing table, in addition to your down payment, in addition to your closing costs and all of those things, then they know that they can sell that house. So there was somebody that had to move, apparently, in this house. They closed in September, and they were selling it a month later because the girl apparently got transferred. She was actually leaving the house and told me. But I think they bought it for like $660, and now they have it on the market for $8 something, which, of course, it had multiple offers and sold. But that would be the cost 9 to 12 months later to build that house that they had. So that's why they're selling it the way that they are. And, you can't really blame them. So they went ahead and closed instead of taking the hit because you would lose your money.
That's about as profitable a mistake as profitable an oops as you could ever imagine.
Oh, for sure. Wait, my house is finished. I have to move? Yeah. What? Yeah. But wait, people are working from home, but apparently, they can't. So again, I just won't look at new builds the same because there are so many moving factors. Before, you knew what you were getting, but now not so much because things could change. We may not be able to find that backsplash. We may not be able to get that appliance in, whatever the case may be. You just don't know. And are they slapping them together? I mean, come on. You just don't know. But they're building like crazy, but yet there's still not enough new builds to go around.
Yeah,
material-wise, labor.
For sure. Yeah. And I think it's probably like that across the country. We talked about this in our last podcast. I had a new build close in September, and I think they're getting their microwave in January.
Oh wow! Exactly.
Nothing you can do about
exactly. It. Yeah, there's not.
It is what it is.
Yeah, and you have to just sort of roll with it. So that's why I tell people. And then some people like certain kinds of lots, and some people want this. They want to build a pool. And what if those lots just aren't available? They're just not. But we are seeing a few houses here and there that do come up, like the one I was just talking about, which is kind of crazy, where all of a sudden it's a new build, but it's being sold by the owner, or an agent because they had to close, but they can't stay. And I think that would have to be gut-wrenching too, because then you're probably going to another part of the country that's probably even worse than we are.
It's hard. It's an interesting market for sure.
So what's your takeaway from 2021?
Well, mine's probably not going to be as exciting as yours, but I think probably philosophically looking at the year is my takeaway, and that is, at the risk of sounding or using a cliche, people have said forever the old is forever new. And I think as a real estate agent, to continue being successful and doing what you're doing, sometimes you have to block out the noise. The economy is horrible, or it's a seller's market, or there's too many buyers, or what you just described about builders. And I think if you view it in a way where that saying, the old is forever new, I think you are kind of guaranteeing your success regardless of the noise that's going on around you. And always stick to your fundamentals. And your fundamentals, I think, outperform changes. And changes happen. Technology improves, the market changes, interest rates go up and down. But if you are continually doing the things, and for example, nurturing your database, how did you get to where you are now? And that was through your database of people. It was treating your clients right. And if you do that, I think things in the end will be good. And I think that's the takeaway, regardless of the change, regardless of all the different stuff going on, regardless of, and here's a big one, regardless of all the new agents that are into the market now, because, oh my gosh, selling a house is easy. It's easy money.
Isn't it though? I always say what Dolly Parton says. Well, come on, you can be miserable like the rest of us.
Yeah, I think if you just stay with your basics, that really outlasts and outperforms and trumps anything the market can throw at you. And
I do think
that's
you're
what
right.
we try to do. We talk about it every week.
Yeah.
We just had a huge meeting on Monday. It lasted half the day, it seemed like. Talking about 2022, and as I said, I've partnered with another agent right now, and it's kind of exciting because we've both got ideas about how to market ourselves and what to do. And so, but bottom line, it's about fundamentals, and it's about fundamentally doing the stuff that made you successful. And I think if you do that, you can eliminate a lot of the craziness that's going on. How's that for a takeaway?
I think, actually, no, I think that's great. I think it is, and I always say real estate is right when it's right for you. Not when it's right for the market, not when interest rates go down. It's when it's right for you, and that do you have those ducks in a row to get to that closing table? Because there are a lot of moving parts. There's more moving parts than ever. So I think that's why to have a professional in your corner is the way to go, because we see it every day. We can give you that insight. We're not making this stuff up, okay? Because the bottom line is, though, if you're not ready, then the market's not ready for you. Why is someone, written 20 offers and never getting them? Well, then you maybe, as I say, draw back and punt. You have to look at, well, wait a minute. Maybe more sellers do want an FHA, a conventional loan over an FHA. How can you get there? If that's what you're seeing in your market, maybe certain areas you can do it. So you've got to get to that area. Maybe there's certain areas that are better with this type of loan than that type of loan. But you don't like that area. So, do you have enough to pay over? Do you have enough to sign a full waiver? We do a lot of waivers around here. I don't know if you guys do.
We are.
If that's the case, then you have to make sure you're ready. And even if that means, hanging on for another 6 months or a year, or going month to month on your apartment or your lease, which could be more per month, but do you still want to stay in that lease? Like, what can you do? But that's why talking to a professional, I can give you so many different scenarios. You give me your scenario, I'll give you 10 of them, how we could do it. Because I see it all the time. And people say, well, I can't do this, or I can't do. Well, then maybe it's not time. Or maybe you need to reevaluate what is the most important thing. If having that craft room is that important, or someplace to, but could another room be that? Like, you have to, you're probably not going to live in that house for 30 years. You're going to move. So maybe next time you get the perfect house. Maybe that's the time.
Yeah, I think the thing that stands out from what you just said is they do need a professional in their corner. And is it impossible for it to be done without a Jill or without a Mike or without another agent? No, it's not impossible. But I think to get best outcomes or to guarantee best outcomes, you have to find somebody that has navigated through that. And I think it was, I don't want to spend any time on it because I don't like giving time to entities that I don't necessarily care for. But the whole thing with Zillow that just happened.
I know what you were going to say.
Yeah, I mean, epic failure. It just, they were trying to turn it over to the consumer, and this is just a market where you need a professional. And I've actually got a funny story about that if you want to hear it.
Do it. Come on.
So I was, I'm sure you see this in Dallas as well, when the market is good and it appears to be easier to sell a home, you start seeing for sale by owners pop up. Because people start saying, this is easy. I can do it myself. I'm going to save myself 3%. I'm going to save myself whatever. And we see that all the time. And of course, some for sale by owners do sell. Most don't. Most end up getting way less than they would have had they paid someone a commission to market and sell their home. We don't need to go there. That kind of would drag it out. But this would be my example for someone. And I've actually said this to somebody. I was at an open house once. And a gal walked in, and you know how it is with an open house. I don't know how you do it. My strategy is to greet them at the door, give them the overview. And of course, we're always trying to kind of latch on to whoever is not connected to somebody and forge a little bit of a connection there. And so we talked a little bit, and she walked around the house, and she came back. And this was probably 5 years ago. And the market was, there were a lot of for sale by owners. And they, like I said, they're just tough. And she was not only a for sale by owner in the house she was selling, but she didn't want an agent to buy either. So just can do it all myself. I'm smarter than everybody. And I finally just, when it became evident that there was nothing I could professionally, politely, jokingly say to convince her otherwise, I don't know if I can even say what I said without laughing. So I finally, she was getting ready to leave, and I said, I totally understand. I get why you don't think you need a professional's help. And I said, I realized that a couple weeks ago because I wasn't feeling well. I got sick. And so I went home, and I searched the internet, and I put my symptoms in, and I figured out what was wrong with me. So I went to the pharmacy, and I got a couple over-the-counter medications, and I got myself better in like 3 days. So instantaneously, what pops into my head is, I need to dabble in medicine. So I called all my friends, and I said, listen, I just cured myself without the help of a doctor. So the next time you're sick, give me a call. I'll let you know what I think, and I'm pretty sure I can get you better. And she kind of looked at me, if you can imagine how she looked at me. I think she laughed. But at that point, what do you have to lose? And
Not much.
I just wanted her to know that I was kind of a lighthearted, funny dude if she would have chosen me to work with, But anyway, later on, see ya. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that really is how it is.
Yeah,
that
I'm
really
going to dabble
is.
in real estate. I'm just going to dabble in real estate a little bit. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah, and especially when you have people that are constantly telling you how it's done and what they're going to do, or people that want to not quite list, but they want to tell agents that they know that their house is going to be on the market by somebody. And why don't you just go ahead and start marketing that house? And it's like, or find me a buyer. And I'm like, well, but okay, do you have a seller disclosure notice? What are you going to pay me? I don't have anything. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing on the MLS. What am I supposed to do? Oh, well, we'll discuss that. Well, I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah.
You can't just discuss it with me. That's put your for sale by owner in front of your house, and then that's a different story. But don't try to get information. I can't just call my friends that are an attorney and have them start telling me things. I have to retain them. It's just part of it. It's a standard operating procedure.
I will almost without fail, end up telling somebody, and this is the one that will turn their head, or this is the line that will turn their head, I will say, I totally get it. Man, if I was in the market right now and I wasn't a real estate agent, I'd think about it too, because it seems really easy. But I'm going to let you in on a trade secret, on an industry secret that's really sad. And I'm not a part of this, but the reality is, out of principle, 9 out of 10 real estate agents won't take their clients to see your house, because I guess the connotation for a sale by owner many times is that person is going to be difficult to deal with. And so as unfair as that is, you're probably going to have access to about 10% of the buyers.
Well, exactly. And you as an agent don't have the information that you need, because a listing agent, as you and I both are listing and buyer agents, we know what to put on the MLS. We know what to tell you that you need. So you can give that information. Otherwise, it could look like you're not disclosing something.
Yep.
Because you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
So
I think since we're on the topic of for sale by owners, I think it's a great market for agents to tap into. But I just have chosen not to do it. I've converted a couple over the years, but I really don't spend any time on it, because fortunately, nurturing a database of referrals has allowed us to kind of prosper and move the needle forward. So.
And I talk about that on an old video that I did a while back. But I did do a couple of for sale by owners back in the day, a long time ago, when I lived in Augusta, Georgia, and a couple other places. It was dumb. I don't know how else to put it. Yeah. Because maybe I could have gotten more money. Maybe this. But of course, back then, I mean, I'm talking, I hate to say 20 years ago, but I am. But at that time, things were different. But would I do it now? Oh, no. And the biggest reason was because at one of the times was about 16 years ago, when my son was like 2 or 3 and I'm having to put the house up for sale by myself. Because things weren't going the way I thought they were. But somebody called me and it was like, oh, I want to come see your house. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know you. I don't know if you're qualified. Who are you? And I'm going to open the door and just let you in. And that was really what scared me. And I ended up getting my way and not only becoming an agent later, but using an agent to sell that house. And I was so thankful. It wasn't even funny. And that's when I thought, oh, I'm going to know what I'm talking about as a realtor, and not just somebody that says, oh, this is my house and I deserve every red cent that's in it. Yeah, you do, but you didn't pay anyone when you bought that house. That's what I try to tell people. It's how our industry checks and balances itself. As a buyer, you do not pay the agent. As a seller, you do. It's the most brilliant way to do it, really, but nobody wants to see it that way because they're not in our industry. And that being said, a good agent, boy, I don't know who these people are in San Francisco, but there is a house that was listed $2.5 million, 2,400 square feet. It was updated. I did see some of the inside of it, and the views were freaking spectacular. Okay, they got $1 million over the asking price. So it went for 3.5.
Well, what they didn't tell you is their daughter lived next door. So,
but come on, I mean, $1 million.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
And it was a cute little house in San Francisco, 2,400 square feet. But first of all, 2.5. That's why they're all coming to Texas. But second, that somebody paid $1 million. So that brings me to my other quick little chat. When you list a house or you're going to list a house and you see, okay, here's $500,000. We'll use round numbers. Some houses are going for $650. Let's use 100 over, 150 over 100. Did it appraise? Or did they have to bring in money? Did it appraise for $550? Did it appraise for $500? So the question is, when we go to do comps now, how do we do them? Is there something on the MLS that, no, there's not, but that should show us it appraised for $550, but they brought in $50,000. It was listed at $500.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Whatever. Right, because
the only way around that is to make phone calls.
That's true, but not everybody tells you. So sometimes I've gotten, oh, well, They had to bring in a significant amount of money. But when you send your CMA to the seller, they think, well, I want this comp, which I would too, right?
I don't believe you, Jill. I don't believe you can't get that information out of anybody. I don't believe it.
Well,
not for a second.
I try. And then get this, a 328, did you hear me? 328 square foot little cottage. It was listed in the San Francisco area as well, $988,000. They took $1 million for it, but it was close to the beach. So there was that.
And how big was it?
Did you hear me? 300 square feet. 300. Not 3,000, 300, 328.
The address is Johnny on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you know. I mean, you're going to pay $1 million. You're paying for the land, I guess, but how big
insane.
Is that lot?
That's just
is
craziness.
The question.
Yeah,
you know,
that's craziness.
So how do you, when you are trying to list a house and people see that, you know, there has to be a kind of a realistic sense of what that house is worth. Mm-hmm. But you don't really know it until you get the appraisal back.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. My first thought was I would probably last about 5 days on the West Coast.
Yeah, I love it out there. It's so beautiful, but there's no way you can live there. How can you live there? Yeah, I mean, and that's why everybody's moving here. I mean, I think probably Dallas is a lot more. Maybe I don't want to use the word transient, but you know, people are coming here because they can work from anywhere. So I know Kansas City might be a little bit different, but still, it's still about shelter. It's really what it's all about. Yep. It's about shelter, and what are you going to pay for that? But again, real estate has to be ready for you. You have to be ready for real estate. And let me ask you something. Do you think there's a difference in buying in the spring than like maybe third or fourth quarter?
I think you answered that kind of unknowingly earlier. The time is right when the time is right for the buyer, or when the time is right for the seller, because everybody knows in every brokerage in the country, they can give you the pros of selling at any time of the year. People say December, Thanksgiving until the first of the year is historically the slowest time. Well, you want to flip the coin over. What it says on the other side is less competition for the buyers, and there's no tire kickers at that time. If there's someone out looking in the middle of winter, they're serious and they're ready to write a check. So you could arguably say there's a good time to sell and buy. What are your motives? What are your reasons? What's your urgency? I think it depends on the buyer. I think it depends on the situation. If you're selling, I think it might be good to wait a couple months at this point. Not sure those words would come out of my mouth. I'm just kidding. If it was right,
no,
for
I know
them to
what
wait,
you mean.
I would tell them that. But boy, that's hard to say. It's like I'm dating myself here. Back when the Fonz couldn't say I'm sorry. It's like you should wait. But it just depends. Every situation is different, and I don't know if you have a particular situation in mind. You usually do. So what was your scenario?
Well, I guess between this fourth quarter, which has been a little bit different for me because like you were saying about changing brokerages and trying to, get your bearings of where you are and everything. But what I've noticed is there's a lot of houses out there in Dallas right now. However, are they perfect? Or my favorite people in the world, Chip and Joanna, going to jump out and say, here's your fixer-upper? Absolutely not. But you can get deals on them. There's some that have been sitting on the market. And then, they all go by default within a few weeks. But it's actually out there. And you can avoid that rush and overpaying $1 million or whatever it is, right? I think you can. I think it's better to buy in the third or fourth quarter. Absolutely. It's probably better to sell in the spring. But remember, if you're not leaving town, you got to go somewhere. So
I think as a general rule, yes, it's better to sell in the spring. But there is a reason for any time during the year that you could make it justifiable depending on the situation. If it's right for the client or right for the seller, I think that's what you do. You made me think Remember the good old days when sitting on the market meant 6 months?
Oh, gosh.
Now
yeah.
sitting on the market means 3 weeks.
Yes. Yeah, it does. And people want to know, what did I see on one of my Facebook friends? They're so funny. They put funny things out there, but that's kind of like dating. Like when you're single long enough, everybody wants to know what's wrong with you. And when your house is sat on the market, everybody wants to know what's wrong with it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's exactly right.
So maybe there's something there, but usually there's nothing wrong with that house, except maybe it doesn't have granite countertops or something or whatever.
The good old days when you actually had to do price reductions every now and then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yes, I know, right?
I'm going to have to
or here's my firstborn.
Yeah. At some point, I'm going to have to remember how I addressed that. I do know it was shock value. I don't know what your philosophy is, and this is just down another road real quick. I don't know what your philosophy is on price reductions, but I don't think they're worth it unless it's 3 to 5%. It's pointless to even do it.
I have to say, wait, I know what you mean, but what I tell my sellers is, would you get off the couch for this price reduction? Yes or no? I mean, if you like this house, your house, and I lowered the price $1,000, which for a buyer means what? $5 on their mortgage for 30 years, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Would that make you get up off the couch? And they kind of go, probably not. But if you saw it drop more, maybe 15 or 20, depending on what the price point is, but usually I say, I give you my whatever it is, and then hopefully in a couple weeks, you have to put that in there. Let's try it my way. It's kind of how you have to do it.
We do it exactly the same we do it exactly the same with different words. Mine is, to use an example, let's say a house is it's listed for $600,000. Okay. And I want to drop it to, let's say, $565,000. What I want to say is if you're my client and we're on the market for $600,000, we're not getting offers, I want to drop it $35,000. And they're looking at me at the table and they go, "Excuse me? What?" And I just look at them and say, "There you go. That's the exact reaction that I would like to get from the buyers. You just proved my point." Whereas if you say, "Let's go from $600,000 to $595,000, they go, "Oh, yeah, that's doable. We can try that." Well, that's exactly what the buyers are going to do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
that's what I meant.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah, no, you said it perfectly.
And again, that sounds like a sting, but the money really wasn't there to begin with, or it would have sold.
You're exactly
That's what
right.
I try to tell people. And then they go, "Well, but we want this money or need it." And again, you have to say, "But it's not there." Nobody wants to sell your house for $35,000 more than me, right? I mean, why wouldn't I? But if it's just not there because it would have sold, then what happens is if you do lower it, chances are you're going to get offers, because that sends out the people that realize, oh, wow, now it's in my price point, and I might have a little cash extra for things, right? So again, another way to look at it. And we're seeing higher priced homes go quickly too. So we can see a $300,000, $400,000 house that's all fixed up. It can go just as fast as those $1 million+ homes.
Absolutely.
And I am amazed. Like some of these in this certain areas are going 1.7, 3 days on the market. And those were the homes that used to sit, but not anymore. And so I think people are selling their brownstones and, their 300 square foot beach houses in California, and they're coming here and they're saying, "Oh my gosh, what a bargain." Because I wonder if those people that got the $1 million over, I wonder if they're moving to Dallas, because I can make that money go so far.
Yeah, the one thing too for people to remember now is, as much as things change, or as the market shifts, or the economy changes, it without fail, the safest thing you can hold long term is real estate. And so
absolutely,
yes, I think that's
my old boss used to say that.
Help us out in the long run.
Absolutely. And what do you think buyers can do to be ready for 2022 and beyond? What would you tell them? Like, you're going to start your search in March. Okay, we could do it. But what would you tell them? How they should be over ready?
Yeah, I think you really have to coach people before you even look at your first house. And you have to coach them in the sense that this is the way the market is. And I will give specific examples many times. For instance, most of my buyers had to put in 2+ offers last year before they got a house. Occasionally we got lucky. We got something that was an in-house type situation. We put together an incredible offer right out of the gate and we got picked. But there are, and I think we talked about this several podcasts ago, so I won't go there. There's lots of things you can do to be attractive to a seller when you write an offer. But overall, I think you just have to coach them to say, be patient, or to think, be patient. I'll tell you when you can get excited. I mean, that's all you can do. Because they might walk in and find their dream home, and their dream home has an offer on it that's 15% higher than anything you can or will do. So it's just, be patient. I'll tell you when to get excited. I mean,
exactly.
It's kind of good.
Good one. Yeah, I say you got to lower your expectations, right?
Yeah, that's another way.
I had a professor actually in college at Oklahoma State, and it was one of those elective classes, which I should be the last person to talk about this, but he always said in life you should expect a C when you're getting married, because if you expect an A, then you got nowhere to go. When she's just, okay, this will be pretty good.
Wow.
Obviously, I always expected A's because.
Man, that's pretty harsh.
But it's really reality.
How many people did that professor either A, send into a divorce mentality, or B, they stayed single the rest of their life?
I don't know. But I didn't listen to his advice, obviously.
That's funny. That's good.
But sometimes you have to lower those expectations, because especially, and we get it. There used to be a time when you walked into a $400,000 or $500,000 house and, oh my gosh, it blew you away. It was so gorgeous. But now, I mean, it's not as some people walk in and go, you're kidding me, right? And I'm like, hey, you wanted this school, you wanted this area, you wanted a certain amount of rooms, you wanted a certain amount of garages. Yep. This is, and they're like, oh my gosh. I mean, so you have to lower your expectations a little bit, I think, in order to be happy. Oh, well, but the master bathroom, everything else may have been touched and updated. Well, we're not doing it because the master bathroom isn't done. I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Like, do you see what I mean? So I think sometimes you have to say, look at what is good about the house and not what is, because you're not going to live there that long. And if you're lucky enough.
That's when you get the pre-showing permission to grab them by the shoulders and shake them.
No.
You told me I could shake you by the shoulders if you were being,
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't reach him, though, because, see, you're taller than me. So I'd have to go, hey, y'all, let me stand on this chair, so I can do
hold
that.
Still, and I grab your shoulders. What are you thinking?
Exactly. And because you don't want them to come to you in 2 years and go, okay, now sell my house. And it's like, wait, you bought it for $1 million over, 100,000 over, whatever. And now I've got to sell it. Oh my gosh, I am in so much trouble. We are in trouble. But I don't think that we are. I think that, as you said, the market's gonna even out. Right now, interest rates are just so historically low. And that, I think, is so driving things. But also people that are selling in these markets where prices are outrageous, and then they come to our areas and they can get more house. But that expectation does have to drop a little bit. But that's just what I say. Have a little sweat equity in that house. Yep. Change the countertops. Change that carpet. Do those things if you like the floor plan, the area, and those things. What you can't change is different than what you can change.
Correct.
And then you'll have equity. Equity is such a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It is.
You can do so much with it. And that's, as you said, real estate is where it's at. And it's so crazy to me that still, into my 11th year, I still look back on those times when I had to stand on my head to sell a house and think, I'm so glad that I lived in that little moment of time.
Yep.
Because it does change a lot of things. It changes a lot. I think it changes my perspective. It carved
your mentality for the next however many years. You're exactly right.
That's true. Well, are you going to come back? Are you going to come back and see me in 2022?
I am. I really enjoy it, and I'm going to take 20 seconds because actually you have quite a few listeners up here, Jill, and I know who they are.
Really?
Yes. So I'm going to say Merry Christmas to all my clients.
Oh, good.
I'm going to say Merry Christmas to my new office.
Yay!
I hope everybody has a great holiday season and a good Christmas. Krista and the office staff, Krista's the broker. I'm going to say, did I say my family yet? My wife, Dawn, and Merry Christmas.
She puts up with a lot, doesn't she?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. You're talking about that. Look for the C out there. She found it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Merry
Well, that's
Christmas
why y'all have been
you.
together for so long. Well, yes, Merry Christmas to you. I know. And for those of us that don't know, that the Mike and Jill story is I get a phone call or a text or on, I don't know, wherever you found me. Are you the Jill Kelly that I went to high school?
Social media.
I mean, yeah, social media is a powerful thing that I went to middle school with or something. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah. I thought there was about a 2% chance you'd even remember me, but you did. And so here we are.
Oh, come on. All the girls remembered Mike Connors. Just trust me on that.
Well, you have a Merry Christmas. It's been enjoyable.
You too.
And we'll get back together after the first of the year.
Let's do, and we will definitely talk about it. Love having you. Thanks again for joining me. And yes, my amazing guest, Mike Connors. Please subscribe or follow For the Love of Real Estate. And if you have any questions, just drop me a text. I'm just going to put my phone number. It's like on the bathroom wall. 469-500-1300. Easy breezy. Mike, why don't you throw out any website or wherever you want somebody to contact you, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, you can find me. So these are all new. So I have to think about it. It's www.connorssavagegroup.com.
Okay.
I think that's all I have memorized, Jill.
I think that's all we need. We just want one.
I have my voicemail changed. Does that count for something?
That counts. That counts. I'm starting to question if I have mine changed. Actually, I really...
Yeah.
I'm starting to question that big, and I don't think I do. And now that I think about it, so I need to go do that. But hey, thank you. But
yes.
Hey, everybody have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and definitely join us in 2022 because now I found out I have a few listeners and I couldn't be more thrilled about that. Have a great day, everybody, and see you next year.
Thank you for tuning into For the Love of Real Estate. If you enjoyed today's show, head over to fortheloveofrealestate.biz to join the conversation, access the show notes, and sign up for our newsletter.